Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, Drago Bosnic is here. Award-winning Drago Bosnic. How you doing, Drago?
It's great, man. Happy New Year and Christmas and everything else to everyone. So it's great to be here again, of course.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas ×2, and happy Serbian Orthodox Russian, sometimes also Bulgarian, and sometimes Greek and Lebanese and Coptic New Year. For everybody who's new here, hi, welcome. This is a comedy show. Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality, as you'll soon find out. Also, long-time subscribers, welcome. Good to see you here still. I know you've been missing out on the comedy. We've got a lot of material lined up for you. And as you may have noticed, I have a new camera. But it is a wide-angle lens, so like when I crop it, it turns out to be like 24 pixels. So enjoy that for the time being. If you don't like it, you can always donate. I might even do a fundraiser, but in the meantime, you can buy me a coffee. Now that all that's out of the way, I watched Drago being interviewed by Michel Chossudovsky, where Michel Chossudovsky introduced Drago Bosnic as an award-winning journalist, and I was like, wait, what? He's gotten an award and I didn't know? I didn't even draw attention. So Drago, do you want to tell people what happened, what Michel Chossudovsky was talking about?
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I forgot to mention it even. The Mexican Club of Journalists, or the Mexican Press Club, gave me an award in international journalism, and I was supposed to go there. I mean, I can say it openly. I mean, it's not an issue anymore. I was supposed to go to the ceremony on December 5th, but they didn't give me the visa on time, and later I found out that somebody was meddling with my visa inquiry, so that I wouldn't go there, because I was supposed to promote BRICS to the Mexicans, and the Mexican president was supposed to be there along with other members of the Mexican government. Because this is a pretty big event there.
Evil, unbelievable plan you had to promote BRICS?
Yeah, I was supposed to promote BRICS there, and of course we can't have that. I mean, we need to have democracy, man, not fucking BRICS. So yeah, that's what happened. I mean, I wasn't supposed to talk about it, but you know, I just want to let people know that the reason I didn't go there is not because I didn't want to. It's because certain countries had something to say about it, and they exert quite a lot of control over other countries' foreign ministries, unfortunately.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. As people know, we here Serbs have no idea about U.S. foreign policy and how it might, influence things both in the open and behind the shadows or the curtains, however you want to look at it. Yeah. So when I heard Drago got an award but didn't get an award, I decided I have to give him an award. So here is an award certificate to Drago Bosnic for unwavering patience and a supreme sense of humor, certified by me, Stefan, the Working Brother, and you've got the official logo, and you've got it in an electronic form, and we will print it and hand you out a real certificate once you get over to Belgrade. Surely it'll be easier for you to get to Belgrade than it will to get to Mexico, right? So now you can say you're like officially certified and accredited and like multiple times. That's what I was getting at.
By the way, that would be like the actual, I mean, the first award I would ever get, because the one that I'm supposed to get from Mexico is still not here. They have to send it by mail or something. God knows when that's going to be. So I presume I'm going to get that one before.
Excellent. You definitely worked for this one probably just as much as for the other one, because putting up with the humor here on these talks with me for last 2-3 years. I was gonna add the time in the certificate, but then I was like, nah, we'll just give him another one next year. We might make it a tradition. Ask me, leave comments below. Tell me if you want me to make this a tradition of giving my guests certificates for achievement of great successes that they have accomplished here. Okay, now I think it's time finally. Where is this?
Well,
and then we've got,
I have an idea that I'm not gonna get the award for the best camera. That's for sure.
Well, actually, you'd be surprised. There's quite a few. First of all, who am I to say, considering like the past 3 years of camera? That camera died officially. I'm using the same connection, so it wasn't the cable. It was actually the camera that died. And Drago and I were talking. You can't really blame the camera. For the last 2-3 years, it's been working 6 hours a day every second day. So, it was worth every.
Kudos to the producer.
Right, it was worth every dollar or euro or cent or para spent on it. So in any case, Drago, as he usually does before we started recording, sent all his articles along, and I clicked on the first first article that he sent, and they rebranded their site. I was like, did they get hacked? What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They included all the countries. Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. So they might need to still work on some of their webmastery stuff. But in any case, we've got the old classic of fans of nuts. Do you want to tell us, Drago, what's going on here?
Yeah, we actually talked about this in one of the previous episodes, and it's about a member of the fans of nuts core who actually called for nuclear war. And this guy, Yevhen Karas, that's his name, and he's linked to Svoboda and Right Sector, these lovely pro-democratic organizations that have nothing to do with the fans of nuts, obviously. He said that thermonuclear war is great because, the Russians will be the bad guys for the rest of the world. That's what he thinks, and for that reason, he supports nuclear war.
Wait, is this the guy who was nuclear war is cool because stalker, and we can survive it?
Exactly.
Because so it's a stalker guy, huh? I should just leave a link to the last talk with you.
He thinks that Ukrainians are ready for nuclear war because Stalker 2 is out now. Completely normal individual, I would say. Anyone who says otherwise is a conspiracy theorist, obviously.
Obviously, I just spilled some coffee, totally unintentionally, but yeah, go check out the links down in the description. Buy me a coffee if you haven't, because nobody bought me a coffee for Christmas. Nobody bought me a coffee for New Year's. None of you guys. What the hell? Not that I'm complaining, because thanks to the guys on Patreon, by the way, everybody who's still on Patreon, you guys are regulars. Thank you all, even the $1 level. It makes a difference. Yeah. What can I say? Not many people actually watched that the second of the last talks we did. I'm guessing it was the holiday busyness. But yeah, go check that out if you're new here. And if you're old here, because maybe you didn't. We talked about this stalker parallel with the neo-Nazis. Let's see here. Should we do a meme? Because we're short in articles. So we have to do overload of memes. Did you see? Do you have any articles about Trump and his Greenland adventure?
Not yet. I mean, I'm waiting for a bit more info on that, because so far it has seemed like a joke, and now it's starting to look more serious. I don't know what to think, to be honest.
There's a lot of things to think. Where is Club of Rome? There we go. Have you seen the map from the Club of Rome? I was going to get into this with George, but I'll get into it with George as well. This is the map from the Club of Rome. Circa when was the Club of Rome? In the 70s? Something like that?
Yep. 1974, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. 75.
All I can say is, you know, and then you get into like this map, which is how could I say, fictitious. From that, like, writer. He was probably a strange and independent writer who worked for the BBC in the Spanish Civil War. George Orwell, in case you don't know who I'm alluding to. Real name, I forgot, but that's not even his real name, George Orwell. This is another rendition of the same map. Any parallels to reality are purely coincidental. This is late 1984, like at the end of the book. So, Drago, you're a geopolitical commentator.
Yeah, Russia and Europe being together, that's kind of a stretch, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, the rest of it, I mean, if we're talking just about the spheres of influence, it might have.
So you're thinking,
that one
this is more likely? The actual Club of Rome is more likely?
Yeah, that one is definitely more, based on reality. I mean, it's a Cold War era map, obviously, so that's why it's the way it is. But it's far more, realistic than the ones that we saw later. All these like predictions how the world will look like, they usually end up not really being based on reality, because the amount of information you would have to know is staggering. Like, it's demographics, it's economy, it's let's say the political and military situation, resources, and so on and so on. Like, there are so many variables that, like, even it's difficult to predict even in the next 5 years what's going to happen. Like, you might have like multiple predictions of the same events, but for the most part, I would never like say, oh, it's going to be like that 100%. Like, nobody knows that except God, maybe.
This was shared by Marlena in chat. And by the way, go find me on Telegram, and then go find the link to join chat, and the real shit happens in chat. A 1942 map of the New World Order.
Yeah, like look at this. Even this was wrong. Like, even this, like, they were predicting the Soviet Union was going to have Iran and all of Germany. And Iran was later part of the CENTO, which was like sort of like a Middle Eastern NATO.
But I would argue that they will. I would argue that that's the way it's going.
Yeah. I mean, actually, Pezeshkian and Putin are supposed to meet in Moscow and sign a strategic like alliance agreement of some kind. Similar. Not entirely, but to a certain degree, similar to what Russia signed with North Korea. So, like, we have the outlines of this Eurasian Unity Pact, whatever you want to call it. And there's also indications that Russia is going to sign the same agreements with the Chinese, and the Chinese are going to make the same agreements with North Koreans. So that means, like, we're getting into this like triple entente style alliances, tripwire alliances. And of course, this is always a prelude to something bigger. And I don't want to sound pessimistic, but who knows? I'm not going to say anything anymore about that.
I'm just looking at like messages from smartass commenters in the chat that I was just talking about. Yes, I'm talking about 3 of my YouTube videos. Obviously, I'm talking about 3 of my YouTube videos. Anyway, people really like need to like get a taste of like who the working brother is by watching more than 3 videos on topics that they want to argue about, and then come talk in chat. It's like, damn, man. Anyway, let's do one of these. New year, new meme. New meme. I didn't say new me. It's the same me. I think my New Year's resolution this year will be to tell more people to fuck off. I think all of you should also make that your personal resolution, right?
Agreed. A lot of jerks around, so it's a good
especially
idea
if you're from Greenland.
Man, why the hate for Greenland?
Greenland is Denmark, and it's always been Denmark. And as the Serbs would say, there will be no surrender. But yeah, well, let's not get into the whole sloganology of no surrender. All slogans should be positive, not negative. When you say there isn't something, you're drawing attention to the something. You're not drawing attention to the isn't. But in any case, let's not get into Serbian details. Russian military going steady across front lines with thousands of new weapons as the Orthodox Christmas approaches.
This was my webmaster's idea of a title. My title was Orthodox Christmas came early for the Russian military, but that was too simplistic, so he changed it. But the point is, of course, what's going on. The Russians are advancing in virtually all directions, and they've inducted several other weapon types. And of course, I just wanted to make like a sort of a breakdown of what they did in the last several weeks of last year. And they've actually gotten many of these new North Korean weapons, including the Pukguksong 2, which is an MRBM, or a medium-range ballistic missile. The Russians and the North Koreans are expanding their cooperation, and of course, it's good for both sides, because the Russians are upgrading North Korean weapons, and they're also getting them cheaper than what their own industry could produce.
I saw a video, probably real, of a Russian FPV drone hitting North Korean anti-air defense that was not recognized by the Russian as being used by the Russians, and inadvertently basically confirmed that the Russians are using North Korean anti-air in the SMO zone. But the point about of the oh no, the Russians hit their own anti-air, yes, but there are, on the other hand, a couple of videos I saw of Ukrainians hitting their own Abrams with the FPV drones. When you're flying FPV, we'll get to FPV. We've got FPV cat debunking as well. How long are we into this? 17 minutes? We've done 1.5 article. This is excellent. This is going to take 2 hours for sure to do these 10 articles that we've got. Anyway, Drago. So yeah, how do you feel about this? The fact that all this North Korean hardware is on the front.
Well, the point is, the front is massive. Like, it's 1,300 kilometers at the very least, and this is without counting the new areas in Kursk and so on. So we might be talking about 1,500 kilometers of front line, give or take. So you need a lot of coverage, whether it's artillery, it's air defense systems, or whatever, or ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles. So in that regard, the Russians need everything they can get, and this is why they were, opening their own reserves from the Soviet era and getting the T-62 tanks and even T-55s. I saw people ridiculing that, but a T-55 is a better protection than a BMP or some other armored vehicle. So why wouldn't you take it, at least for the security of the rear, if nothing else? Or just as a support unit. So essentially, in war, anything can be used. North Korean equipment is not the best, in terms of quality on an individual level. But the point is, it's cheap, it's easily accessible. The Russians can use it. Also, they have quite potent artillery pieces, also rockets and missiles. So for the Russians, this is a good way to simply replenish their stocks and expand them further. And for the North Koreans, it's a good thing to see, to check if their things are good to go for war. So both sides are gaining something from this. And the whole story about 12,000 North Koreans fighting or 50,000 or God knows how many is ridiculous, because there might be a few thousand of them there, and most of them are special forces or some kind of specialists, who are actually sent there to gain some battlefield readiness and battlefield experience, something that they haven't had the chance to do in decades. So for them this is a good exercise essentially, and they're the ones who asked the Russians to send these guys. Like, it wasn't the Russians who asked North Koreans to go there because they're losing the war all the time, as the Western media claims. It's just that the North Koreans themselves. Oh yeah, the MI6 that never lies, obviously. So that's the whole point. This is why the North Koreans are there.
I've got a meme here. It's a personal creation. I was looking at the NATO side, and then I was like, enhance more. And then I was like, wait a second. That looks very suspicious right there. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
I just want to point out something. I suggest people to go and look up the most important NATO generals in the 1950s and 60s. You're going to find a lot of very interesting individuals there with no German names, no German Wehrmacht past at all.
Don't do it.
And,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't
look it up.
Don't look it up. Don't look up. Don't look up like the movie.
Just don't do it. Like, don't check the names of those generals and their biographies, because it's better to continue believing in democracy and freedom and all these other good stuff that is always based on truth and
I gotta get some of these things that are loaded out of the way, even though we talked about them. This is a map of some of the areas that are celebrating or were celebrating the new year recently. So in case people don't know, there's that. And also kudos to the person who made the map for not cutting up Serbia, as 98% of people do. Including Serbian TV for some reason. What the fuck was that about? But let's not get into Serbia. Let's leave that for another time.
Yeah.
Should we do some firefighting memes?
Sure, why not? Oh my god.
What could go wrong with some firefighting memes, right? Yeah. What do you think of I got a comment somewhere, and people were like, can you get Drago to talk about directed energy weapons? So, Drago, do you want to talk about directed energy weapons? Possibly?
Yeah,
Space
sure.
lasers,
why
Star
not?
Wars, setting fires up from space.
The U.S. actually has some of the most advanced systems in that regard. And incidentally, California is a place where those are usually, tested, and many of the defense contractors actually work from California and are testing those directed energy weapons. So yeah, it's something that is definitely not a coincidence, I would say.
But what do directed energy weapons mean? What do they do? What is Can you explain it to somebody who has no idea? If you were sitting in a bar and this girl came up to you and she was like, can you tell me about directed energy weapons? How would you explain it to a blonde? Also, I don't know if you're clicking and your computer is freezing in the background, because your camera keeps lagging and glitching a bit. Or if it's my recording software, I don't know. But something's going on. In any case, do you want to continue and tell us what directed energy weapons are? We're blondes in a bar. Nothing against blondes. Or bars.
I barely heard the last couple of seconds, because I don't know what happened. Whether it's my internet or something. but I lost you for a moment, and I can barely see myself. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, I can hear you, but I was saying you were cutting out and your like thing was being glitchy. But I was just gonna ask you to like explain to us like as if I'm an airhead at a bar, blonde or not. Tell me what directed energy weapons are. So like people who have no idea can get an understanding.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are various types of directed energy weapons. There are so-called masers and lasers. For the most part, masers being the microwave and lasers being based on light amplification. So for the most part, these directed energy weapons are like the new type, although they've been around for about 60 years. Lasers being the most prominent ones, although microwave weapons are now coming to the fore. So the point is, they're thermal weapons for the most part, and they can really be used to start fires or whatever you want to do with them. They can burn through a lot of stuff. And, you know, I mean, it wouldn't be an issue for anyone to actually start these fires. And I'm not sure if people heard it because I was losing the connection. But California is a place where a lot of these defense contractors are actually testing their their directed energy weapons, especially lasers. I'm not saying that this is what caused the fires, but it certainly could have contributed. On the other hand, I've actually talked to some people who understand how the American government works, and they've told me that these fires are part of the intentional, like essentially damage that the government in California is doing itself, so it could get more federal funding. On the other hand, what I really think is contributing to all this.
Funny you should mention federal funding, because from what I heard, they got unlimited federal funding for the next 6 to 8 months or something like that. 180 days, I don't know. 6 months, I don't know. But the point is, that can't be revoked by Trump. Unlimited funding for whatever they want. Like transgender parties because of the fire.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom actually said that. He called it Trump-proofing California. Essentially, they just want to make sure that they're going to get the money regardless of what Trump does. We'll see how that's going to go. But for whatever reason, Trump himself will probably not try to revoke that, even if he can, because it's going to make him look bad, and then the Californians will be able to say, oh, look at Trump, he is using this against us because we didn't vote for him and we had all these fires, and now we have to, we need this money to live off it. So I mean, I'm not surprised that's the case. On the other hand, I'm not surprised about another thing. Namely, we know, because of the peculiarities of the capitalist system, we know that there are hundreds of thousands of homeless people in California, especially in LA. So the point is, yeah, I know it's a conspiracy theory, obviously.
There were none. There were none when she came. When Xi Jinping came, there were none there.
Right, they removed them. Maybe they should invite him again, so that these people will actually get, some housing. So, the crazy thing is, it's not because of the lack of housing. It's the point is, you have so many of these billionaires and millionaires who own all the housing, and because they're monopolists, essentially, they're keeping the prices of rent so high that nobody can, or at least a lot of people can't afford them. So you have this paradox of having homeless people on the sidewalks in front of buildings which are essentially empty. So that's the point, about the peculiarities of capitalism, or at least neoliberal capitalism. So and then, of course, you have all these people who are homeless. So now they're left with nothing. They have no reason to live or no reason to be model citizens. And they could just go on a rampage and just start burning stuff, which would happen in any society in the world with such a situation. So economic situation, financial and societal. So I think it's a combination of all these factors. California itself, I mean, the government in California of the state of California wants to get the federal funding. And of course, these people have no reason to be model citizens. So all of this is contributing to the chaos we're seeing now. And I think in this particular case, things probably got out of hand. I don't think that the fire would be, they needed such a big fire. It could have been like 10 times less and they would still get the funding. But the point is, it's such a crazy system. Like, they need to burn the place down to get some funding. Like, how fucked up that is.
There's also this like crazy theory I heard on the subway here in Belgrade, because everybody knows that Belgrade has a subway. It doesn't have a subway. That what's it called? That there's tunnels also, and stuff that could have been in these tunnels that could have been like burnt. You know what I mean? Considering a lot of these rich folk are all tied into that pizza thing. Let's just leave it at that. For those who know, they know. For those who don't know, why don't you, Drago, tell us what this meme here means? Los Angeles has a new name, Požarevac, from the National Meme Coordination Body. They rechristened Los Angeles as Požarevac. How would you translate Požarevac? Like, like,
should I say LA?
Little fire, like Tinder? Is it kindling?
Yeah, something like that. Because Jar actually means, as you said, Tinder. So yeah, I'm not sure, but it's something along those lines. But yeah,
I died laughing, man. I died laughing when I saw this. This was too funny. The guys in the National Meme Coordination Body are pretty good. Let's see. I've got some other ones here before we get to that other stuff. Oh, I promised I'd share this one. This one just came in fresh off the chat from Maya. Pseudonym, by the way. I just baked you some shut the fuck up cakes. After people got a little rowdy in chat, Maya was like, use this. So yeah, this might be the screenshot, as in the thumbnail for today's talk. So
that's a genius meme as well.
We're 32 minutes in, and we've done a grand total of 2 articles so far. I think that's excellent. I think it's time to get on to the third. This is news to nobody, because they're not here for the news. Another F-16 bites the dust in Ukraine. Oh, surprise!
Yeah, this is so last year, man. Yeah.
Literally. It's December, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it seems the F-16 is doing great. The Wunderwaffen of NATO is Russians. I mean, this one probably just, hit a tree or something, or maybe it was friendly fire, who knows. But certainly the Russians didn't down it. The Russians don't have the technology to do that, so...
Really? That's all you're going to say about the article? That's excellent.
Yeah,
that means we can move on to other stuff. Should we do Julian Jihadi?
Yeah, why not?
Jihadi Julian, sorry. That's I just got him labeled here as Jihadi. I forgot his name was Julian. Where's the original? This is the original. He had a meltdown on the Twitterverse. How it started up here. Russia, not Russia. And for anyone who may be confused by the Liberal Party, not the United States. The United States, how it's going. This is his meltdown. Rupke, the Jihadi Julian, known as such because he was cheering on the jihadis way back in 2017, 2012?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he's like, I cut it out on purpose because it's not that important, but he's like, anybody who supports Trump taking Greenland supports Russia taking Ukraine and China taking Taiwan. And people were like, wait a second. I support those two other things. You know? So basically Rupke had a meltdown. And then Vex from chat fixed this. How it started, Russia, mostly Russia, and how it's going, not the United States, but some of us like their gun laws, we really do. He's actually from Canada, Vex is. United States of whatever that place that can't sink wants. Coming in strong into 2025.
It's crazy to me, the whole idea that Trump would take Canada. I just don't understand why. I mean, they already are exploiting Canada and Greenland, by the way, and they have nothing. Like, they have no commitments. Like, they're just taking, and they don't have to worry about anything else because there's the local government that has to deal with the fallout. And now, like, if you take those two places. You're actually going to lose
by local government.
By local government.
Wait. By local government, you mean the Queen, right?
Right, the Queen, exactly.
Because let's not forget, Canada's a colony, and they're all subjects of the Queen. So, would you rather be a subject of? I mean, king. Sorry, but like that won't last long. So who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. But yeah, you heard it here first. The king's not going to last long. Breaking news. We got more breaking news on Greenland later. Oh, where's that video? Should I play that video? Let's get into Greenland for real. Because where's the first actual meme that I made of this year? What? How is it not here? What? No. Did I close it by accident? Will I have to go to the folder? I'll have to go to the folder. We're losing the flow here. The point is that Greenland is, what are they called? Danish? Dutch? Danish, right?
Danish, yeah. Officially. I mean, they have like self-government or whatever, so.
Let me play the clip because I've got that queued. This is a silent film from YouTube, Critical Past, archive of HD films. This is the U.S. in Greenland, something like that, in 1957, setting up Camp Tudo. For everybody who thinks they just got there, we've got breaking news. Where's my Greenland stuff? Newsflash. There we go. Newsflash. The U.S. has been in Greenland since World War II and continues to have a former air base, now space base there. Insert Space Force TV joke here. In case
I think it's
people
Jewel or something like that, like the name of the base.
That's the old one. Thule. People who might want to look into weird stuff, don't look into the Thule Society.
Right.
That's purely accidental, has nothing to do with the name. So this is from some propaganda video that I came across. I'll share it eventually in the Telegram. But the point is, the top of the world turned out to be a perfect location to traverse their growing empire, the U.S. growing empire, globalist American empire, and to spy on the Soviets during the Cold War. Notice he says the Soviets, and it's marked Russia. And then they even had nuclear weapons up there for a time, they being the U.S. And it wasn't just one base. The U.S. set up a handful of military bases in Greenland. We're going into deep dive on Telegram about that in the near future. So the U.S. Mostly abandoned its presence here, though they still have that base way up north that they've turned it actually into the base of their Space Force. Why is the Space Force?
But nothing really changed. I just want to mention something. It has to do with the Space Force. the Russians actually found out that the American X37B, which is like a space plane, but it's like a drone space plane, which is sort of like a mini space shuttle. They found out that this thing actually has advanced technologies. It can actually change orbit, which is very difficult for people who don't know and don't understand how orbit functions. When you're in air, all you need to do is like move the flaps or whatever, to change the direction of an aircraft or a missile. But in space, you need to use actual power of the aircraft, or in this case, spacecraft, to change your orbit. And that requires quite a lot of energy. The point is, this thing can actually spend like 1,000 days or even longer in orbit and, change it. So the Russians were very worried about this, and they were worried about this even in the 80s when the space shuttle program was on. Of course, this was like a U.S. attempt to respond to Russia's technology that's called FOBS, or Fractional Orbital Bombardment System. I'm not going to get into that now. It's like a whole other story. But the point is, the base in Greenland is actually important for the operations of the X37B. So in that regard, I'm not surprised that Trump wants to make sure that they have a base.
The X37B, that space plane drone thing that they took up to the sky, and then nobody knew where it was, and then 752,000 days later it came down, and people were like, wow, that's where it was. It was making circles.
Yeah. That thing, that they are, that for that thing, the base in Greenland is important. But of course, Greenland is not just that. Of course, it's much more than that. But for the U.S., obviously, they need Greenland for the new race to the Arctic, and this race in the Arctic, of course, the Russians dominate there with their icebreakers and new military bases and their defense systems. And of course, Greenland is necessary for the U.S. to project power into the Arctic, because that's going to be one of the most important areas in the world in the future.
We've got 4 articles, but I'm not going to deal with the articles. We'll leave them for the next episode. We've got this. I finally found it. The first meme that I actually made this year. I'm done being a California directed energy weapon fire expert. I'm now a 1950s nuclear bases in Greenland expert. Because, seriously speaking, in case you missed it, they had a couple of bases there. You can go back and rewind to that other pop-up and pause it and read. Yeah. Let's see. What other shall we do the debunking? Let's do the debunking. Let's do the cat drone debunk 1. Did you guys see that drone video of a cat taking down a drone? Maybe I should play that first. Where's this? And then this. And no, this is Hitachi Smart Dust. We'll get into that. Oh, McDonald's in Kosovo. This is hilarious. Let's do this first. This was sent in by subscriber.
Let's go in and see what they got, shall we?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Medita.
Good to see you.
Hello. Yeah, hello, how are you? We've always wanted to start McDonald's.
Yes, where's that McDonald's?
Yes. This is awesome. It reminds me of home.
So, can I get a Big Mac here?
No, just the name is McDonald's.
In case you missed it at the end, he asked for a McDonald's burger, and the guy was like, "No, sorry, cat. Only the name is McDonald's." God knows what kind of dog meat they serve there. Oh
man,
but yeah,
I would rather not eat anything there. So to be perfectly honest, so
I would rather eat at the real McDonald's than that. And everybody should know how I feel about the real McDonald's. In any case, hold on, I have to mute myself and cough. Or clear. You see, that was professional, unlike those YouTubers. People who are subscribers will get the joke. Anyway, this is a video, supposedly, of a cat taking down a drone in the Special Military Operations Zone, and it was a Ukrainian drone, and it was a Russian cat. This is how the story goes online.
Was it Putin's cat?
It's definitely Putin associated, Putin affiliated cat. But yeah, so this is the video, boys and girls, and the internet went wild because, you know, this cat took down this drone. But if you look closely, it does kind of look like, you know, rural Russia, Ukraine, but it also kind of looks like, you know, rural Midwest US of A. It's Dan. And like that SUV in the background there is highly likely not in Ukraine. Okay, hint number one. Let's put it that way. The power lines should also be a hint. But in any case, that's for the non-drone people and the hints that you might have gotten from there. But for the drone people, like, this is an insult to like people's intelligence. And as a drone person, I had to set the record straight. So, cat versus drone debunk 1. Some myth busting. Yes, a cat took down a drone. No, it did not happen in Kursk. No, it was not an armed FPV drone. No, it was not a half kilo or more FPV drone that would have chopped its paws right off. And no, it's not funny. Not unless you take into consideration that basically everyone thinks that the above is true. Some details to draw attention to. Right here in the corner, you can see 3.31 volt low battery. That should be the first hint, as in like it's a single cell battery, which is a tiny little thing, and that's not what's used in FPV drones. Ducted propellers, visible in blue right here in the corner. Those are propellers that have shields around them for safety and also for supposedly better aerodynamics, but that's debatable. But yeah, horizon mode, not acrobatics mode. Link quality is too high for any actual flying. And the model name is on the screen, Meteor 75 Pro, which is like a little tiny drone that, as you can see here, is like 30.5 grams total. So yeah, that was not what it was presented to be, and I felt the need to share that with you, my valued audience, and you, Drago, because you might have gotten... Did you think that was a cat in Russia? Did you get fooled?
No, I mean, I actually saw the video. It was just like funny to me. I wasn't actually getting into it, and but yeah, I appreciate. I mean, the expertise, because it's, you know, it's always good to hear something from people who actually understand how things work, rather than just, you know,
talk out of their ass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay, you forgot, baby. It's a comedy show. Nobody cares here. You're not talking to Michael Shosudovsky, you know. Also, by the way, hi, Mr. Michael Shosudovsky, in case you're watching, because I wouldn't be surprised if he follows you. He might, you know, be watching what you're saying on other shows. So, Mr. Shosudovsky, thank you for your patience with my humor, too. But seriously speaking, as you can tell by the last sentence on screen, a swarm of about 7,000 of these controlled from a single laptop or mobile phone, as you and I discussed recently, would be something to contend with.
Yeah, good luck to any air defense systems, you know, trying to down that.
Forget air defense systems, like even any kind of like electronic war, whatever it is that you've got. This is 7,000 drones coming at you. It's gonna wear it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, anything short of an EMP is not gonna cut it. So yeah.
A friend of mine, let's call it that, was asking me about EMPs. And now that you mention EMPs, why don't we take a tangent and discuss current EMP technology? Do small-scale EMP weapons exist? Like, can I, like in the video games, throw an EMP grenade and take out, like, you know, people's electromagnetic, as in electronic stuff within a small
radius? Not that I
radius?
know of. I mean, there are certain, like, ways to fry electronics or disrupt them, but not on a portable level like that, like in video games.
Okay,
you know?
second question.
Not that I know of.
Second question, on a tactical level, Like, do they have, like, you have tactical nukes, like artillery-fired tactical nukes? Do they have tactical, like, dumb, like,
they do.
nerfed nukes?
One of the Iskander variants of the Iskander missile, the 9M723, actually has EMP warheads. But the point is, like, that's a big-ass missile. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, you could have them on that scale, but still, like, you can't have them, like, on a level of a grenade.
Yeah.
Like,
so going further with this scenario, and then you've got the strategic level, which is like, ICBMs and IRBMs, and that's obviously even higher yield. But the question is, these various yields, like let's say the artillery one or the Iskander size one, let's say that has a yield of the equivalent of what, 1, maybe 2 kilotons.
It's difficult to like measure
megatons?
it. I'm not sure. Like,
are they called
we can only talk about
kilotons?
like the radius of the EMP explosion. I mean, not explosion. Like the EMP doesn't really explode. It's just that it sends
the effect.
These,
let's call it the effect.
Electromagnetic pulse or effects, exactly. And then it fries electronics and so on. Like, actually, the only thing that can survive is like these old vacuum tube electronics systems. Those are the only electronics that can survive EMP effects.
And these modern EMPs, do they have? Because I know that before EMPs were basically like in the 50s, 60s, 70s. EMPs were basically nukes that are like out in space so that the nuclear radiation doesn't get to you, but the EMP wave does. But are the newer ones less nuclear?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as I said, like the Iskander actually has an EMP warhead, which is not nuclear at all. It is just like an EMP effect.
So it has like no radiation. Just the EMP.
No radiation at all. Actually, there's no explosion. The warheads just hit. But the point is, like, it reaches over an area, detonates or activates actually the EMP. You don't actually see. I mean, for people who don't know, the EMP, it's not like something you can see as an explosion. It's just like an electromagnetic pulse. And the only indication that it started would be like you could hear the electronics being fried all around you. And essentially anything that's electronic would die within the radius of an EMP.
All right. Now we're getting into counter EMP in the sense that are modern battle tanks, APCs, and so on EMP proof or resistant at least?
Some are like rated as EMP proof, but the point is, like, who has tested this? Like, how do you test EMP? Because the EMP levels are that's like saying, oh, my tank is NBC protected. Sure, buddy, if it's like 50 kilometers away from an explosion, if you get hit by a nuclear explosion, you're gonna get fucking fried, you know? Like, you're not gonna be protected from nuclear, biological, whatever, you know? Like, there's a level of protection against certain things, but it depends how close you are to the epicenter of the explosion. So.
Insert video of tanks getting blown by like explosion, you know, in those tests from the 50s. 53 minutes in. I think we've done quite enough for today.
Yeah.
Or at least for this recording. Let me see. Let's flash this up back there because we want to draw attention to the fact that your unwavering patience and supreme sense of humor is certified officially by the working brother. And to drain that a little bit more, crocodiles in Indonesia, just as we take this talk out with some unbelievable fucking facts that we came across recently. Crocodiles in Indonesia have started pretending to drown to lure human prey. You're like, what? I was like, what? And then, oh, come on. And then you watch, and it's a crocodile going.
Oh my
Look,
God!
I'm drowning! I'm drowning! And the guy's like laughing his ass off because he knows what's going on. So if you see anybody drowning, make sure it's a human before you're like, oh, look at this emerald princess, as somebody was like in chat. Yeah. Also, they come in human form sometimes. In any case, Drago, how was your New Year's? Did you have a good time? Is there anything you want to share with everyone before we call this talk?
It was nice. It was nice. I actually saw a crocodile, and it wasn't drowning. And even if it was, I wouldn't be trying to save it, to be honest. So it was actually quite interesting. I was in Budapest for New Year's, and we visited the zoo there, and it's interesting. I mean, it's a really nice looking city.
Everyone, thank you for sticking around. This music is unnecessarily loud. Drago, award-winning patience. Thank you. Have fun. Everyone, we'll be right back. We're going to continue recording. You guys will probably see it in a day or two. If you're not subscribed, why? Why are you watching? Like, you watch to here and you're not subscribed? Like, don't watch anymore. Just leave. You're like you're not useful for the statistics. That's the only thing that matters. The statistics and the algorithm. No, that's not the only thing that matters. Thank you for being here. We appreciate all of you equally. Especially the haters. Leave a comment. Did I trigger you? Leave a comment. Did Drago trigger you? Leave a comment. I dare you. Where's that thing from Maya? Oh, I closed it. I baked you some fuck off cakes. Anyway, we'll be back. Thanks for being here, everyone. See you later. Peace.